This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. I know it's September 11th. I know that everyone knows about the event and all that and how it impacted um, sports around the world. I don't need to tell you about it. You guys can figure it out for yourselves. So that's why there's no on this day. We're not September 11th. Well, the 2023 version. But now we go over the birthday boy. Now I know I have a rule: the birthday boys have to be alive. However, because this guy is an icon who was born on September 11th, I'm making him the birthday boy today. And that's Tom Landry. The first head coach in Cowboys history. In fact, he had it for 29 seasons. Other than Belichick, I mean, how many coaches have lasted 20 years? Not even Mike Tomlin has. Anyway, he would be known for the popular 4-3 defense, as in 4 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers. The flex defense made by the Doomsday defense. And it's still huge. He had 20 consecutive winning seasons. Not even the Pats can claim that, because the Pats have had some terrible seasons. In fact, the record was from 1966 to 1985, so just as I was born. So anyway, he won 2 Super Bowl titles, 5 NFC titles, meaning 5 trips to the Super Bowl, and got 270 wins, 4th most all time for a coach, and his 20 playoff victories are second only to Belichick. Anyway, Dallas had a run between 1966 and 1982 of being to 12 NFC title games out of 17. Well, NFL/NFC. But yeah, they were known as America's team because they had a lot of motivation and all that. And was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1990. So he was born in Mission, Texas, to Ray and Ruth, and the second of 4 children. Anyway, Tom Landry was a pretty good guy and all of that. He fought in the Army Corps because of Pearl Harbor. So he trained and all that. He went back to the University of Texas by 1946 and was part of their fullback and defensive back on the Longhorns when they won a couple of New Year's Day games in the late 40s. He got his bachelor's degree from Texas and got a master's degree in industrial engineering from the U of Houston. Anyway, in the AAFC draft, you know, the AAFC, the team that the league that wanted to compete with the NFL in the 1940s. He was selected in the 19th round of the 48 draft. He would play 1 year with the Yankees of New York in that thing, and then the Giants took him in the NFL draft. Well, the Giants took him in the 47 NFL draft, but anyway. So the second lieutenant of the Air Corps was doing all this stuff. So Landry was part of the Giants defense and all that. Landry did ponder his future with 32 interceptions in only 80 games, which he recovered. He got 3 pick sixes. So Landry was a pretty good player for the Giants and all that. And yet he was a Dallas legend as a coach. Regardless, for the 54 season, even though he was still a player, he was the defensive coordinator of the Giants. And the offensive coordinator? Oh, some guy named Vince Lombardi. Landry helped the Giants become one of the best defensive teams in the league. Unfortunately, though, they lost in 58 and 59 to Baltimore for the NFL title game, But they did beat the Bears in 1956, realistically. So in 1960, Dallas needed a coach, and the Giants let him go to Dallas. Big mistake, Giants fans. Big mistake. Anyway, Landry didn't start off well. Dallas only had 1 putrid tie in 12 games at the start of the NFL. And that was, ironically, against the Giants. And each of their next 4, they only had 5 or fewer wins. So it looked like Landry was on his way out. However, owner Clint Murchison Jr. gave him a 10-year extension. And it worked, as Landry's hard work and determination paid off, and the Cowboys went 500 in 1965. And then posted 10 wins in 1966 and nearly won the NFL title game against the Packers, losing on home turf in the Cotton Bowl. Landry was an advocate for the 4-3 defense, We had 4 down linemen, aka 2 defensive ends, 2 offensive tackles, and 3 linebackers. The middle linebacker was the innovation. A lineman was placed over the center, but he had the guy move up and move back 2 yards. And Sam Huff was that guy and all of that. So he had a lot of things. He actually recruited soccer players from Latin America to join to kick. Evan Herrera and Rafael Septian, for example, to be place kicker. And even had Bob Hayes, who was once a 100 meters champion in sprinting in 1964 in Tokyo. And he was drafted and played for the Cowboys. Landry's coaching tree was very huge. We'll get to that later. But coaching in the Super Bowl, he went to 5 of them, 2 and 3. And here's a stat I just found out that I did not even know about. Both Landry's Super Bowl wins were in New Orleans. Super Bowl 6 and Super Bowl 12. Whereas his 3 losses were all at the Orange Bowl Stadium. When they lost Super Bowl 5, that controversy went in a sense. Super Bowl 13 and Super Bowl 10. Hard to believe. He only was coached in 2 venues. Anywho, Landry coached the Cowboys to their first Super Bowl win, taking down the Dolphins, and it was great. All that. So anyway, the Cowboys were still big in the 70s. It was basically, Dallas was the NFC team in the 70s, Pittsburgh was the AFC team in the 70s. And they did pretty good. In the 1980s, they actually went to 3 straight NFC title games. Sadly, though, they lost to the Eagles in Philadelphia, if memory serves me right. The second one was the famous catch game by Dwight Clark. The famous catch game. But let's not forget about the catch. Is that lost in the shuffle was that Dallas actually marched down the field and were close to San Francisco's side of the field when, unfortunately, they fumbled. And then, in 82, they lost to Washington. Bum Bright bought the team, the Cowboys, and was disenchanted with the team, especially Landry's game strategies and single-mindedness left him to criticism. And of course, sports radio networks and cable networks were not really that big back in the day. So unfortunately, Dallas went from 10 wins in 1985 season to 7-7-3. Unfortunately, though, Landry kind of figured that he was done for. And then after Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys, he made strict moves. He got rid of Tex Schramm, the GM, and he got rid of Tom Landry, the coach. I mean, I guess that was kind of a symbolic move. I mean, after all, Tom Landry's been around for 29 years. I think it was just huge and all of that. Jimmy Johnson, who would be Jerry Jones's teammate at the University of Arkansas during the 1964 national championship season. I don't care what you say, it is a national championship. Was from the University of Miami, now he went to the Cowboys. The good news, though, for Landry lovers who hated the fact Landry was fired, was that Dallas only won 1 game in the 89 season, despite having a young Troy Aikman. And Aikman wasn't even the quarterback when that happened. But yeah, it was humongous and all of that. Pete Rozelle, the commissioner, was not happy with Jerry Jones's thing and said that the firing was compared to the death of Vince Lombardi. But Jerry Jones said he would not have purchased the team unless he could hire Johnson as coach. I mean, come on. He was a teammate at the University of Arkansas. Yeah. But, yeah, he did his job. So, from 1960 to 1988, he accumulated 250 wins with 162 losses, 6 ties. Now, before 1974, a game can end in a tie, with a .605 winning percentage. 20 and 16 in the postseason, many postseason appearances. between 1966 and 1983, they only missed the playoffs once in the 74 season when they went 8-6. Still, 5 trips to the Super Bowl. Isn't that amazing? His coaching tree is huge. He had Dick Nolan, who would go on to coach the Niners, Saints, and San Antonio in the World League of American Football. Yeah. Dan Reeves, who would coach for Denver, the Giants, and the Falcons, who recently passed away, I think last year. Mike Ditka for the Bears and Saints, who did the Bears and Saints as a coach. Ray Berry, who was the Patriots coach in the late 80s. John Malkovich for Kansas City, the University of Illinois, the University of Texas, and the University of Arizona. Ron Meyer, UNLV, SMU, New England, Indy, Las Vegas in the CFL USA experiment, and Chicago in the XFL. Gene Stallings, who was the Cardinals head coach before moving to Bama for 6 years. Landry would die after battling leukemia, and he died in 2000. The cenotaph has his trademark fedora, and that was huge and all that. Lots of cities would give Tom Landry the thing and all that. So anyway, there's a couple of animated shows that pay tribute to him. The Simpsons did. He did that. Well, his fedora made it to 2 episodes, and well, in season 7, Marge Be Not Proud, the Christmas episode, which Bart steals Bone Storm, and Marge is not proud of him. Tom Landry was one of the carolers in the Krusty the Clown thingy. But in the Simpsons episode, You Only Move Twice, when Homer gets a job at, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the name? Cypress Creek. He and his family do it, and everything seems perfect. I mean, let's not forget that every member of the Simpson family had a life-changing experience. Homer actually loved going to work and got a lot of praise and all that compared to his power plant stuff. Marge, unfortunately, because of how self-cleaning and self-motivating the house is, drove herself to drink red wine. She said she couldn't drink 1.5 glasses as recommended. She could only drink 1 glass, but still, I mean, what? Lisa had troubles because of the plant life giving her allergies and all that. I guess because of Springfield's being so sterile because of the power plant. And Bart having troubles because his academia caught up to him, and he was placed in the gifted program with arsonists, a kid from Canada, who they thought that would be stupid, and Ralph Wiggum clones, if you will. But anyway, Homer gets inspired by going to a sports shop and getting an autographed Tom Landry fedora, and he tries to help his team build up the nuclear power plant and all that. But as I said, the hat would come back in season 9 in the episode Bart Star, not the quarterback, but Bart Star, S-T-A-R, when Springfield gets a boys football team to make him lose weight and all that, and Homer is the coach by needling Ned all the time. He would always wear the fedora during the games and all that. But King of the Hill beats it because the middle school in Arlen is called Tom Landry Middle School, and Hank Hill is, well, dedicated to Tom Landry. Hank said he was mortified when he went to work on the day of Landry's death after his cousin Dusty had previously tricked him into thinking Landry had died, and he thought it was a repeat of that prank. Hank has this Tom Landry ceramic plate he consults in times of need, saying, "Where do I go wrong, Tom?" And Tom Landry actually appears to Hank in dream sequences to try to help him out. So anyway, Landry married his wife in 1949, having a son and 2 daughters. And Alicia has since died. She only died in 2021 at age 91. It was always a suit and tie and a fedora for Landry. So that's what happened. He was a great coach, and his legacy will never fade. Anyway, I'm Jeff. I'm going to do